How's it going, everyone? This is Mr. Morales. In this video I'm going to show you how to create a header and a footer, how to create a table, and how to create tabbed text. Let's add a header and footer. Let's go to the ribbon, click on Insert tab, locate the header and footer group, and locate the header command. When you click on the header down arrow, you will find many built-in styles for adding a header. You can choose any of those styles that you want. I will choose one, and I will type in a header. You can type your name as the header. When you create a header, a new tab is created. It's called the Header and Footer Tools Design tab on the ribbon, and that gives you many options for customizing your header. On that same tab, all the way to the right, you have a command that says close header and footer. You can click on that command to close the header. Now that you created a header, you can see that your header text is shaded light gray. And if you want to edit the header, you can simply double click on the header. And in order to edit, you can double click on the body of your document in order to close the header or footer. A header and footer are used for applying the same text to many pages within the same document. So if I were to have more than one page in this document, I will be able to see the same text, which is my name, at the top as a header for all the pages. The same applies to a footer. In order to create a footer, you use the same steps to create a header. When you go to the ribbon, you click on the Insert tab. Under the header and footer group, you click on Footer. You choose any built-in footers and type your text. You can close your header and footer, and now you've created a footer. Now I want to show you how to create a table in Microsoft Word. For this example, we will create a table that will be 5 to 6 rows and 4 to 5 columns. As an example, we'll make the table about our friends. So let's go to the ribbon once again, and let's locate the Insert tab, and towards the beginning of the ribbon we have the tables group, and let's click on the table command, which is a little down arrow, and here we have several options of creating our table. We can just put the mouse over some of these boxes and it'll tell us how many rows and columns there are. The first number will be rows, the second number will be columns. Okay, so in this example we'll have 2 by 3, that's 2 columns and 3 rows. So the first number is columns, the second number is rows. I think I made a mistake earlier. So 2 by 3 table will be 2 columns, 3 rows. We also have the option of inserting a table or drawing a table. So you can explore these options on your own, but I will create a table using these boxes, and we will create a table with 4 columns and 6 rows. So the table is a 4 by 6 table. The first row in your table is the table header row. Here's where we're going to type in some categories for our table. So as an example, this table is about our friends. I will type in some text as an example. I quickly typed in some information about my friends, and actually they're my coworkers. So the first row is I have their the first column is their first name, second column is last name, third column is the class taught, and the fourth column is years teaching. And I just filled in the information. Now for you, your table may look different than mine. Your table should actually look different than mine, and you will probably have different column headings for your friends. You can have favorite food or favorite color. You can make up things for the column headings. When you create a table and you click inside the table, you have many options now. 2 new tabs are created within the ribbon. The first one is the design tab, the second one is the layout tab. In the design tab you have options as to how to have a color formatting for your table. You can go ahead and choose one of your liking. For the layout tab, you have ways to lay out your table in terms of text direction, cell margin, and spacing, and so on and so forth. It's a matter of going into these tabs and changing the settings and playing around with it to the point where you're satisfied with it. Next, I want to show you how to create tabbed text. In this example, I'm going to create tabbed text using my schedule of classes. When you do your tabbed text, you will create your own schedule of classes. And you should put a minimum of 4 classes. And if you are not taking 4 classes, you can just make up classes. There are 2 ways to create tabbed text. The first way is to use the horizontal ruler, which is in between the ribbon and the document. In case you don't see the horizontal ruler, you go to the ribbon under view, you look for the show group, and there is a box, a checkbox that says ruler. If you uncheck it, it disappears. If you check it, the horizontal ruler appears. On the horizontal ruler, you will be using your mouse pointer and pointing and clicking to specific locations where you will create what's called a tab. The insertion point, the blinking vertical bar, will jump to that specific tabbed location. So for example, if I create a tab location at the 1-inch mark, I can click the 1-inch mark, and I'm creating a left tab. All the way to the left of the horizontal ruler, I have what's called my tab indicator, and this specifies which type of tab I'm going to create. In this case, I created a left tab. meaning that all the text will be uh, going to the right. So as an example, let's press on the tab button on the keyboard, and as you can see, it jumps all the way to the 1-inch mark. And now when I type text, my text goes to the right, and there's a barrier on the left hand side. I can create another left tab on the 3-inch mark, and sometimes you have to be very careful when clicking on the horizontal tab that you don't create an extra tab. In case you do create an extra tab, you simply click and drag the tab you don't want, and it deletes. Let's also create a tab, a right tab this time, on the 5.5-inch mark. So now I have a left tab and on the 1-inch mark, and another left tab on the 3-inch mark, and a right tab on the 5.5-inch mark. Now it's time to type in some text. So I press tab on the keyboard, and notice how it jumps all the way to the 3-inch mark. Now I'm going to type some text. I'll press tab again. I can type in more text, and notice that since I created a right tab, it creates the barrier on the right hand side, and the text moves to the left. Now when I press enter on the keyboard, notice how on the horizontal ruler my tab positions go to the next line. If I were to click on another line, the tab positions are no longer there. So I want to make sure that I am on the second line of my tab text. Now I like clicking on the show hide button, and this shows me every time I press the tab key on the keyboard, and it shows me every time I press the enter button. So these are guides that can help you. I press tab on the keyboard, and I can continue to type in text, and I'll fill it in with text. So I typed 2 classes, and as you can see, the times are kind of close to the section numbers, so I can modify, I can increase the space. So I have to select all the tab text, and I can drag that right tab all the way to the 6-inch mark, which allows me to create more space. So this is the first way of creating tab text. Let me show you the second way. For the second way of creating tab text, you want to type in all the text that will be tabbed. So I will do that right now. So once you have your text, you select it all. So I'm selecting all the tabbed text, all the text that I want to create tabs for, and you make sure you include all the rows. You don't want to choose rows that are not in the tab text. Okay, so you just choose those rows that are going to be part of the tab text. You can also, as an option, you can change the line spacing, making it single space and removing the space after the paragraph. So this will be my tabbed text, and notice how I'm not choosing an extra paragraph mark. I'm just selecting the entire tab text. Now what I want to do is go to the ribbon under the paragraph group. At the bottom right, I click on the paragraph launcher, the bottom right of the group, and I get a dialog box. At the bottom left, there's a button that says tabs. I click on that button, and from this new dialog box, it's asking me where do I want to create my tab stop positions. I can choose 1-inch mark. I specify the alignment as a left alignment, no leaders. I click OK, or actually I click set. I click on the 3-inch mark, left alignment, no leaders, click set. I click the 5.5-inch mark, left alignment, no leaders, click set, and now I click OK. As you can see, I created, as you can see, the horizontal ruler. I create and I click within each of those lines, and I could see that there are tab positions on each of those lines. Once I click on the other line, I don't see any tab positions. If you make a mistake, like I just made a mistake, I created a left tab instead of a right tab, you select the text again, and you can go back to the paragraph launcher, or if you have very good skills and are able to double click on the left tab or any of the tabs, you can do so, and that brings up the tabs dialog box again. From here I can make the proper changes, and I make the alignment a right tab. Now I can click set, and then I click on OK, and as you can see on the horizontal ruler, it modified it to a right tab. I deselect my text and I go before each of these sections and I press tab on the keyboard, oops, and as you can see, I need to modify the spacing because the spacing is off. So I select my text again, and I can change by clicking and dragging. So instead of pressing spacebar all the time, I can just create the tabs and I can modify the spacing on the horizontal ruler. Now I want to show you how to create leaders, which are guides to help you read text better. So we always choose leaders for the last lines of text or tabbed text. We don't use leaders for the first row, but for all the rest of the rows we choose leaders. So we go back to the paragraph launcher at the bottom left, click on tabs, and we're going to choose leaders for the last two tabs positions. So I click on 2, and here are the leaders. Here are the several designs for leaders. I click on style number 2, I click set, click my next, tab position. My leader will be 2 also. Click set. Now I click OK, and there I created leaders. If I turn off my show hide button, I can see how these leaders were created. Okay, this ends the video. I'll see you in the next video.